When you're working with layouts in your drawing and preparing to plot and publish, you need to work with scaled viewports. Those scaled viewports allow your drawing to be accurate and display dimensions, section marks, center lines, and so on accurately. So we need to work with a scaled viewport that we know is accurate for each of the views in our drawing. I've got a drawing open here. It's 07, working with scaled viewports complete. If you want to follow along with the drawing, open up 07 working with scaled viewports.dwg and you'll find that in your working files. I'm going to zoom in on this large viewport here in the A3 landscape tab. Now the first thing I'm going to do is zoom in and check that that scale is correct. There's my viewport there. There's a field there that says 1:2. Now we know that that might not be correct. How do we know that? Because if I look over here and look at this one, that one is also 1:2 and the view is a different size. So I'll double click to zoom extents and zoom back in there on that text. Make sure you've got an edge of the viewport available. Double click on the text and then highlight the text like so. I'm then going to right click and select Edit Field, and using the Field dialog box I'm going to click on the Select Object button and select my viewport. And then select Standard Scale in the properties there. It's actually 2:1. So when I click on OK now, that shows the proper scale, 2:1. I can then close the text editor and that viewport now shows the appropriate scale. I'll zoom out slightly and then we're going to look at this viewport in a bit more detail. So that's twice its original size in that viewport. Now I want to rescale that viewport for a different issue of this drawing. So I double click inside the viewport like so. And then if I look down here on the status bar, you can see that says 2:1 as per the scale in the field in the text. I click there and I'm going to change it to 1:1. Now you'll notice two things. The dimensions disappear, the object gets smaller. It's now 1:1, full size, but the dimensions were annotative. So they're not available now because they were set at 2:1. We need to change those so that they're now available at 1:1. So double click outside the viewport to deactivate it and then go back to your model tab. Zoom in on the top view here and you can see the dimensions. Can you see them? So we need to select the 58. We need to select that dimension there and that dimension there. They were the ones that disappeared. I then go to the View tab on the ribbon and select the Properties palette here. There's my Properties palette there. It's a little bit big, so we'll just resize it slightly, just so we can see what we're doing. There we go. Now, these are three what they call linear rotated dimensions. They are annotative, yes, but the annotative scale varies. So we click where it says Varies, click on the box, and what that'll do is it'll bring up our annotation object scale. Now you can see we've got 1:2 and 2:1 in there. 1:2 is for that top view in the top left corner of the drawing, and 2:1 was the original scale of that large viewport. So I need to add another annotation scale. So I'll add that there, 1:1, like so, and I'll click on OK. That's all I need to do. Those dimensions are now using the 1:1 scale as well. So I'll close the Properties palette, hit Deselect, double click to zoom extents, and then go back to my A3 landscape tab, and my dimensions are there. They're not perfect. They do need to be perhaps updated position-wise. That's not a problem. We can fix that very, very easily. We go back to the Model tab again, and we just check them, because you can see that we're using that 58 dim there and that one there. So we just need to update them slightly. So that 58 needs to move. Very easy. We click there, click on a grip and drag upwards, and we'll move it to there. Hit Escape to deselect. So let's have a look at that now in the A3 landscape tab. We haven't moved it far enough. It needs to come up a little bit further, or the 58 needs to move up. No problem. Easily fixed. We'll click on 58 there, and we'll just move that one up. Click on the grip there, and we'll take that up to there, and then hit Escape again. And it's just a case of updating each time until they're in the right position. Now, we might need to refresh the viewport. No problem at all. So if I double click there, double click outside, it hasn't updated. Not a problem. We can easily just keep doing that by trial and error until we get the right dimension. Or double click inside the viewport and do it. As long as we don't zoom, we're fine. So I can click there and drag that one up to there like so. Hit Escape, and there we go. It's done. You'll notice how quick and easy that was in the viewport. That's because it's much easier to select the appropriate annotative dimensions because only the scaled ones are displaying. So I'll double click outside. We're happy with that. We'll just check that that's at 1:1. It is. Excellent. So that's at the right scale. Everything's displaying dimensions and objects. So I can double click to zoom extents, and that drawing is now ready to be published. So as you can see, working with those scale viewports, it's a little bit fiddly sometimes, but once you've got it right, you get really good professional drawings. Again, working smarter and faster in AutoCAD.